Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the DunnWisdom Morning Show. I am your host, Melissa P. Dunn, CEO of MD Marketing Network and founder of this DunnWisdom movement, as well as your success coach. So this is our PowerPlayer Conversation episode, and I have a very special guest who is by far one of the most powerful women that I know. She is an exceptional professional, as well as an amazing family woman and a community servant. I am going to introduce you to one of the co-chairs for my program with the Lauderdale Health and Prosperity Partnership, Dr. Haffizulla. She is the chair of the Department of Internal Medicine at Nova Southeastern University, Dr. Kiran Patel College of Osteopathic Medicine. Now, she is she served as the Assistant Dean for Community and Global Health, and she's a founding team member for NSU's College of Allopathic Medicine. She is a board certified practicing internal medicine physician and a founding member of the internal medicine. I know I'm just like butchering this, right? So you guys see that I'm wearing my glasses and it's still hard for me to read. Anyways, let me just bring Dr. Haffizulla on so she could tell us more about herself. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome one of my favorite people, one of my favorite power players in South Florida, Dr. Haffizulla. Hey, Dr. Haffizulla, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Commissioner Dunn? I am excited to be here on DunnWisdom Morning Show. Thank you for having me. This is exciting. We get to come full circle.
I know, right? Thank you for joining me for this Power Player Conversation episode. And my apologies for butchering your bio. I'm just getting used to my glasses. I'm still like holding out of the idea of not having them.
No problem. You have to roll with the punches. We roll with the flow, right? We're women.
Yes. That's it. So Dr. Haffizulla, tell us about yourself.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm very honored. I feel so privileged to be in our College of Osteopathic Medicine at Nova Southeastern University. I'm chairing the Department of Internal Medicine, but one of the projects near and dear to my heart that I founded and serve as a principal investigator on is a Caribbean Diaspora Healthy Nutrition Outreach Project. I founded that project when I was a founding team member at the Allopathic School at NSU when I was Assistant Dean for Community and Global Health. And then another hat that I wear, and this is going to be always a part of my life and the part of the life of many of my children, is being past president of the American Medical Women's Association. So many of the initiatives and ongoing, work that we have to support, empower, and uplift women, not just in medicine and healthcare, but women's health and family health, that is certainly running through that organization. So that's just a bit of a snapshot of some of the overarching hats.
You wear a lot of hats. You also sit on a couple of boards. I know you and I are on the American Diabetes Association board.
Right.
Could you share some of the work that you're doing in the community in terms of leadership?
Absolutely. So one of my passions and one of my life work projects is to promote health equity and to eliminate health disparities wherever we can. Every individual is so unique. We want to make sure that we don't ever take a one-size-fits-all approach to health and wellness. So really understanding our community members, those that we serve, looking at their obstacles, their challenges, but also their assets and resources, their cultural beliefs and backgrounds, just basically looking at our community through an intersectional lens allows us to have a deeper understanding of how best to provide healthcare and to fix some of the challenges that are being faced by our community members. So while we as physicians, in internal medicine or other specialties may think on the health aspect of things, it's important for us to broaden our perspectives and look at the social determinants of health and other non-health factors that influence health and well-being. So that is, big focus for some of the work that I'm doing, and that's led me to get involved in, the American Diabetes Association with you, Commissioner Dunn. I also work in the health equity space with the American Heart Association, and I also sit on the board with the March of Dimes and a few other places. I make sure that I keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening, because that community connectedness makes you a better community servant. It makes your work even more powerful the more you're able to overlap those worlds and see synergy in some of the ongoing initiatives that are happening, that is one movement. And that is a big reason behind why the Caribbean Diaspora Project was successful.
Yeah, I want to talk about the project, but before I do, I want to kind of talk a little bit about your background. Tell us about your early years. What made you decide to get into medicine?
So I'm a Trini, from Trinidad.
Yes, jump up.
Exactly, proud Trini, Soca, and Calypso in my blood. And so my husband is Jamaican, but growing up in Trinidad, my mother, she was a nurse. She worked the night shift so that she can be there in the daytime for us to make gourmet lunches for us and pick us up from school and take care of all of our activities. My two sisters and I grew up with very dedicated parents. My mom being a nurse, my father was a math teacher and a businessman at the same time. And they kind of divided to conquer, to figure out the ways that they could make things happen, make the sacrifices for us. So seeing my mother work not only in healthcare, but be sort of the medical professional for the entire family. I had the opportunity to go into the hospital with her when I was a little girl. I was like about 4 years old, 5 years old, sitting at the nursing station. And that was, when the days that I would need to, be babysat because I'm not at school. And so I would come in and I would never sit in the nurse's station. I would always escape onto the wards and explore what was happening. One of my first memories was actually interacting with the burn unit patients in the children's ward. And I remember my heart breaking, seeing children with bandages and IVs and, beeping monitors and tethering cords and no family around them. And many of them were crying. And I started crying with them. And then I decided I was going to tell them stories. We're going to make up all of these amazing stories and we're all superheroes and we're going to conquer anything that comes our way. And so that's the mission. My mother was very suspicious when I kept getting sick.
Just so you could go to work with her.
Exactly. That's my way of getting back onto the wards and exploring. And that is where my love for medicine really began. That just planted a seed in me that just blossomed. And then my mother, again, she was my mentor. She was the one. She's passed now since 2017. But I tell you that she was the guiding light and my first mentor in this.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And so how old were you when you migrated to the U.S.?
I was 14. I was 14 and I came up here and it was very much culture shock because, we had the British system of education down in Trinidad. Everything was more integrated. When I came up here and I saw that many of the subjects were separated out in, math was separated into trigonometry and you have algebra and you have this. Math for us was everything. So we learned all of it. So when I came up, the guidance counselors in the high school in Orlando looked at my transcripts and said, you actually have all of the requirements. You can actually graduate and start college. And here I am, 14 years old. I said, how about you put me in 11th grade? I get some time to acclimatize. I get used to your system a little bit more, and then I can go off to college. They listened to me. They put me in 11th grade at 14. And so I finished my track. I ended up, doing very well in that school, and I started my college years at 16 here. I went to the University of Central Florida and did molecular biology and microbiology, and it was an incredible experience. But being young like that, but also coming from a different environment, a different culture, and moving into the nuances and getting acclimatized was certainly challenging. But I was motivated to not just, survive, to thrive. I said, you will thrive. You must. Your mother and father worked so hard to get you here. And, in our culture, it's a part of us. Education is a high priority. We want to make sure that that is always going to be at the top. And no matter what happens, no matter what challenges we face, it's a part of who we are to make sure that we take good care of our family members. We educate them every opportunity to shine, because they will make a more positive impact on the world if they have that knowledge that they can apply.
Oh, I love that. So you came here, went to college, went to medical school. So you mentioned that your husband is Jamaican. At what point did you guys meet while you were in med school?
That's exactly it. So my husband, this is a great story. I'll tell you.
Tell us. How did you guys meet?
So I went into med school thinking very much focused on becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon. That was my first love. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
Because my own father had heart surgery, and that surgeon ended up being a mentor for me. So I was there, and here we are during orientation at the University of Miami School of Medicine. And I didn't realize that this guy, Dr. Jason Haffizulla now, was all the way in the back. I'm sitting in the front, making sure that I'm taking good notes of everything we need to do, understand the flow. And he's sitting up in the back there, and he had his eye on me the entire time.
He scoped you out.
Let me tell you, it was very interesting how you really honed in. And then when we had to do a round robin where we were introduced to everybody in the class, and we had a big class, and so we had to follow a specific rotation protocol. When I saw Jason Haffizulla break that protocol, walk diagonally right across the VA, the big room, straight to my table, he sat down and said, "Is this seat taken?" I am so shocked, first of all, that he had the audacity to break the rules.
Oh, look at that. He was bold.
Oh, he was very bold, but I put him off. I didn't give him the right phone number. I gave him a million excuses, but he consistently pursued me. And then when we had the Dean's Barbecue, which was at the end of orientation, I said, all right, let me just give him a chance. And so I talked to him, learned that he was Jamaican family, same kinds of values and morals, and the upbringing was very similar. I said, all right, maybe.
Just maybe.
Yes. And you know what? After that, very shortly after that, we did go on our first date. The rest is history. He asked me to marry him. We were married within a matter of months in just the first year of medical school. And we just recently celebrated our 24-year wedding anniversary. And with four children later, too.
4 children later. So, I am in awe. I am in awe right now. Well, first of all, I didn't realize that you guys met in medical school. So you managed to be in medical school as a wife, starting your family.
Yes.
Well, how did you do it?
Oh, let me tell you, you never know what life throws your way. So when we met, of course, the goal was to finish medical school, couples match for residency programs, and move on. Well, as our divine intervention would have it, I got pregnant in medical school with our first daughter.
Wow.
Right? And so immediately we had to rethink exactly how. Now, my dreams of being a cardiothoracic surgeon, my priorities changed in that moment of time. I said, no, I do not want to be at the beck and call of a beeper. I need to have more independence in my schedule. However, I want to have the mix of options that will make sure that I stay challenged in this profession. So, I knew I was thinking about different specialties at that time, but because I enjoyed looking or actually engaging in all specialties, internal medicine made the most sense to me. And actually, we moved in with my in-laws who lived in Coral Springs at the time, and they were a very big help. And my parents were also a very big help because we still had to have overnight rotations and be on call. So when I had Zarina as a first-time mother, it was nice to be able to have my family and his family there with us to kind of, take over baby care so I don't have to worry. And then I could be overnight on call and come back. And then I had to balance nursing, breastfeeding, all those kinds of things. It was very, very, very difficult. It was so challenging. I had many moments where I completely had emotional moments. Right?
Yeah, of course. Being a mother is hard enough, but doing that and being a student.
You got it.
I can imagine. And a new wife.
And a new wife, exactly. And, new climate, new environment. Moving in with my in-laws as well was a different environment altogether.
Yes.
And, we had our second one in residency, also unplanned, but we had to go up to the Cleveland Clinic Foundation in Ohio for our medical intensive care unit and our cardiac intensive care unit training. So both sets of families divided up the time to stay with us because now we have 2, after the training. It was very challenging, but again, we harnessed our village. We harnessed family members. We accepted that help. And if you don't have family near you, you have friends, you have those you trust and you love, make them a part of your family unit. This is a time where you need to harness that help. Don't let pride get in your way and lose the guilt. lose the guilt. Okay, something that tethers a lot of women, and they choose not to proceed with certain pathways, is they hold on to motherhood guilt. And you can't do that. You have to look at the overall picture, and look at the priorities that are important to you in that moment of time. Balance, to me, is what is important to you in that specific moment of time. And that will change second to second, just depending on what is essential or what's most important in that time versus another. From all those lessons, I ended up writing books on work-life balance and some articles.
Oh, I didn't. How is it that I did not know that you had books published on work-life balance?
Yes, I did. So the funny thing is, when I had Nadia, my third daughter, right, and my son, there were a couple of different things. But Anisa, during that time, when I would try to balance my schedule in such a way that I could pick them up from school. And so when I was in the car line, a lot of moms would remember car line, that long period of time where you're waiting to pick up your child. I would write excerpts. I would write some excerpts in there, strategies, tips, creating a roadmap, all those different things. I would use that time to do my research and to write blurbs. And then I ended up putting it together. The first book is Harmony of the Spheres, Career, Family, and Community. And that one, really outlines a roadmap for professionals who really want to have it all, have your cake and eat it too, right? And so I shared that my own strategies. I shared, different things that worked. I looked at the research as well, and I showed a roadmap of, what could fit for you, but knowing it's not a one size fits all, it basically widens your lens of options, right? And then the things that we did to balance life, like if we had a community event, we took our children. We made sure that they were engaged and involved, so they understood the importance of being a community servant, and then later on, I wrote the second book, Lead with Your Heart. Doctors, are for personal and professional success. It's more of a sequel, really, to the first, but a very spiritually grounded, sort of treatise.
Oh, I love it. How can we get the book?
It's on Amazon. So you can search up my name on Amazon, and you will see the two books. You'll see Lead with Your Heart, and you'll also see Harmony of the Spheres.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you are a physician, you're a mother, you're a community servant, you are a executive in the medical school, right? That's amazing. It's a lot of hats, and you're doing them so well.
You know what?
What's your number one secret, you'd say?
I am happy doing the things that I do. Okay? My passion is my compass. My passion is guiding me. And, growing up the way I did, seeing my mother and father and the way they operated with everyone else, we try to do the best for others around us, because you are here, put on this earth, I believe, to make a very positive impact in any way that you can. Any of the unique skills and gifts that you're given, it behooves you to use them to help those around you, to spread the love, to spread the kindness, to have empathy and compassion for everyone around you. And then I think automatically creative initiatives and solutions and connections and all those things really come your way, and you see the way that they need to come together because your passion and your compassion is kind of guiding you. That really helps me to kind of hold it in the same kind of vision that I want for myself and for my family. If that makes sense at all.
It makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Thank you for sharing those tips. You mentioned that you are working on a project that's near and dear to your heart. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So that's a Caribbean Diaspora Healthy Nutrition Outreach Project. So I'll tell you a little bit about how this all got started. And of course, you're very, involved in this as well. We're so grateful for you and, the support from the community on this. So when I was at the MD program, serving as Assistant Dean for Community and Global Health, one of my roles was to really create community-wide initiatives that would benefit the patients and the community members that we serve. So I actually aligned myself with several different committees immediately. One was the Department of Health's Nutrition and Fitness Task Force. The other was the Healthcare Access Committee through the Broad Regional Health Planning Council, and then several others. So one of the conversations that we had, and Bob Lamandola from the Department of Health, oh my gosh, That man is an angel. He was incredible. He was chairing the Nutrition and Fitness Task Force at the time at the Department of Health, and they had just initiated these meetings again. And so as a committee, we're talking about what would we like to do? You know, what kind of impact would we like to have? And we had many stakeholders at the table. And so we're talking, of course, it's a Nutrition and Fitness Task Force. That's the, the mission for the Department of Health Task Force. And so we were talking about, many of us on there were from Caribbean backgrounds. And, we're like, we would like to make sure our family members are healthy, but there's not much out there, And so that, hearing the conversation from them, us talking about it as a team, I said, all right, I also sit on the Healthcare Access Committee. I went to Mike DeLuca, who was the CEO of President and CEO of the RHPC, because I'm very familiar with their Touch program, which is a Transforming Our Community's Health program. They had used the Go Slow Whoa platform for general community health. I said, are you interested in sharing all of this with me and all of our team members? And I'd like to kind of use this as a platform for Caribbean health. I spoke to Robert Lamandola, who is the chair of the Nutrition and Fitness Task Force. He said, this is a fabulous idea. We would love to kind of have this move forward in this sense. And so I was a faculty member, of course, as well at NSU MD in my role as assistant dean. So we have quality of life grants that we can apply for. The quality of life grant essentially needs to benefit folks first in Broward County. We already had all the stakeholders at the table who can support the initiative itself. So we had the YMCA, we had the Children's Services Council, we had UF's Food and Nutrition, we had the library team, everybody. We had at least 7 partners at the time, and then it became 8 with the addition of Baptist Health. They provided support letters for this particular project, and I wrote the grant. Believe it or not, that was the first grant that I wrote.
Stop.
That was the first grant, and we were not even an accredited school at the time. We were in the process of achieving preliminary accreditation as a new medical school. And so, of course, it was you don't typically get grants in those kinds of situations, right?
Correct.
Writing that, Robert Lamandola was my right hand on that as well. And then all of the community partners who came to the table with their support letters. We also delegated responsibilities for each of our partners so that they also had a hand in making sure that this was expanded. Once we built out the platform, everybody had a role. So it was true collaboration. Everybody had muscle built into it. And from that point on, we got that grant. And then continuous funding came after that. And it expanded outside of Broward County into Tri-County. And now it's sort of positioned to be a national resource for other Caribbean diasporas around the country. And the platform itself, I had nutrition experts and several different folks on there who vetted the information, but the research, the cultural, linguistic, the aesthetic preferences, everything that you see reflected in these health education materials came from Caribbean focus groups. So it's a very community inclusive research. It's not somebody standing on a podium and saying that this is what's going to happen. No. The research directly came from the voices of our Caribbean community. And, that was reflected in the research. We ended up publishing a paper in the Annals of Global Health in February of 2020. And this showed our view of the qualitative data, as well as looked at the social determinants of health. And then from that point on, we ended up having many other publications that came as an offshoot from this particular program. And now, as you know, we're doing cooking shows to help engage chefs and wellness webinars, which I know you are incredible to host that as well. And so we've done so much, in the community, and the community is embracing this because we know that diabetes, heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, and cancers that are associated with obesity risk are very much rampant in our Caribbean community. But we were not a part of the, the health education materials.
Well, I'm happy to partner with you on this project, at least on the communication side. Let me share a video so folks can understand a little bit more about the work. Hold on one second. Let's get it queued up. All right, can you hear it?
I don't hear it.
That's really weird. All right, well,
We need some sound down there, right?
Yeah, it was working before. Okay, well, you know what? We're recording this thing live, so I will go ahead and put the link to the website. Actually, the video is on the website. Let me put the address back up, and then I will include the link to the site in the caption for this show, so you guys can go on the site and watch the video. So we have, in addition to this initiative, which basically teaches people really how to eat and move their body in a way that will help them to get healthy, making small choices every day, right? Could you just talk a little bit about the Whoa Slow Go movement?
No problem. So Go Slow Whoa helps to categorize your foods and basically uses a traffic light motif. So green for go means those are the healthy foods. Those have the least amount of salt and sugar and fat, and they have good nutrients in them. The yellow foods are the whoa foods. Okay, those are the ones you slow down on. They have a little bit more salt and maybe some sugar, so not very often. And then of course the slow foods. The slow foods are the ones that, those are the red foods, the red light foods that you really should try to avoid, right? So like heavy fat and salt and sugar and those kinds of things. But what we've done is use the foods that we are familiar with in the Caribbean community that we eat and categorized it using this traffic light sort of motif. So it makes it easy for you to know which food is a go, which one's a whoa, which one's a slow, right? And that is based on an evidence-based platform that's been around for a very long time, but now it has a Caribbean flavor to it. And as Commissioner Dunn, as you were saying, yes, we have exercises also that we've outlined in here. So it's nutrition and it's fitness. Now, what we're also doing at this time point is expanding beyond that, looking at mental health, meditation, sleep, overall holistic wellness for all members of our community. And we want to hear stories. We want to hear from folks who are using this or find this helpful, or want to hear from them about ways that we can create even more effective materials.
I love it. And as you mentioned previously, we're doing In the Kitchen with Dr. H. And there's an event that you have coming up, the Jump Up Fitness Challenge. Could you talk a little bit about that and kind of share how people can register?
Yes, please. And I think you have a flyer as well. Maybe we can share. If we're not able to share it, then we will certainly have it on the website. And as you heard,
yes.
So this is a lead up to actual Miami Broward Carnival. Okay, the 21-day Jump Up Fitness Challenge is 21 days of fitness. We're so grateful to partner with the WellFit platform and also Miami Broward Carnival. The WellFit community, they have not only exercises and exercise routines that they've got nutrition, they've got holistic meditation, they've got some other areas that they're giving this to us for free for 21 days. And that, again, is a lead up to Carnival itself. This is a part of the entire movement to have more folks embrace health and wellness into their lives in ways that it's easy to incorporate. So it's not going to go against the grain of what you're used to, but it at least gets you to do the right things, that you said, in small digestible ways. You make some changes, and then these hopefully will continue on in your routine to keep you healthy. Kickoff event on September 11th. That will be a virtual kickoff event, and then the actual challenge starts September 12th.
I'm so looking forward to it. I am going to be doing the challenge, and maybe we'll have a DunnWisdom Morning Show team.
Great. Yes.
So we can jump up together and get fit, move our bodies, learn about nutrition, but more importantly, also learn about some of the things that we need to do as women to protect our health. I mean, I know that there are certain things that women need to be doing at a certain age, right, Dr. H?
That's exactly right. And we could talk about screening, your well woman visits, breast health. And, women's health is your whole body health. Many times, when you think of women's health, some folks will only focus on, the reproductive system. We are much more than just a reproductive system. We're a whole body interacting with an entire environment. So, a well woman visit should include all of those pieces, right? And there are certain screening tests and vaccinations and other things that are recommended. So, I encourage everybody to make sure that they speak with their physicians about it. We will give tips and strategies, and we'll make sure that we include blogs and try to bring all the right information together on one platform so that you can have at least a vetted, trusted source where you can tap into.
I love it. And I can't wait to hear more about your tips during the kickoff on the 11th of September.
Yeah.
Dr. Haffizulla, you are absolutely a power player. And I thank you for speaking with me today. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you might want to share with our audience?
Well, Commissioner, I will just tell everyone to lead with your hearts. Just let your passion and compassion and empathy guide you as you move forward. You will always be able to do the right thing that way, and you will attract all the right energies to make sure that anything that you're engaged in is powerful, successful, and positively impactful.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will see you on September the 11th for the Jump Up Fitness Challenge kickoff event.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to have been here today.
My pleasure. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the DunnWisdom Morning Show. I want you to go to nsucaribbeanhealth.com right now and sign up for the Jump Up Fitness Challenge, and as well as get some wonderful information about nutrition. Thank you again for joining us, and I will see you again for another episode of the DunnWisdom Morning Show. Remember, be kind and loving to yourself today. You absolutely deserve it. Be well.